All right, hello. My name is Max Rock. I'm with MultifamilyGeeks.com. This book club is currently with the Geek Group members and the Geek Group Plus or above subscription. I am a real estate investor and educator with a background in engineering and business. If you want to find out more about the Geek Group, then find us at MultifamilyGeeks.com. There's also a free underwriting template you can figure out how to download there as a reward for taking your time to go there. Please like this video and subscribe. We definitely appreciate that. And also you can click the bell to be notified when new book reviews are posted. So I like to go straight in on what this book is. This is an Every One Culture by Robert Kegan. I'll put the cover up on the video thumbnail so you'll be able to see the exact cover, what it looks like. And I want to go straight in and give you the rating. The possible ratings I use are must read, a good read, and I don't think you need to read it, right? Kind of a thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. I think this is a must read. I highly recommend it. Why? The book explains a DDO, a deliberately developed organization. And I'm going to talk more about that. And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on. It's a pretty long book. They go through case studies on companies running DDOs, which is, I guess you could call it like a management structure within the book, right? So I guess there's that situation going on. There you go. It's losing some connectivity there. So let's talk about a DDO. A DDO is a deliberately developed organization or a deliberately developmental organization. So first point, it's an organization, a place where people work, right? A job where a person can be their true self. That is, employees can be the same person they are at work as they are at home. So we've all experienced this where we live sort of these double lives, right? We're double agents. We go home, we know sort of our true self at home, we know who we're comfortable being and who we are, and then we go to work and we're this other person, this sort of pretend person or professional person or an alternate sort of person from ourselves. And ultimately speaking, this is not happiness for us. We like to be true to who we really are. And the more we can find that reality, the better and the happier we're going to be. So then number two, so that's what a DDO is. The goal is for people to be their true self, who they are at work, who they really are. That's who or who they are at home, who they really are. That's who they are at work. So number two, the goal of the organization is not profit. It is human growth. Okay. So the true goal of the workplace is human growth, and profit is required so that this organization can be maintained and kept going. So think of our goals. You know, Peter Drucker said there's two requirements of business. It's growth and profit, right? These two things, without the two of them, you can't survive. And here they're prioritizing growth, not just growth in the business like we grew sales. They're prioritizing the employees, the humans in the business growing in a collaborative, minds growing together process and an individually reflective process for each human also. So then they go on to talk about what is a DDO, this idea of adult growth, right? We go to school, we're kids. As kids, we're growing. We get out of school, we graduate, we go off to work. Where's the growth, right? These organizations are acknowledging that your real growth in life is happening every minute you're alive, and therefore adult growth is a focus of the DDO. So they said, ironically, you know, they're mentioning in the book, ironically, education, which is I come with an education background, and I can tell you this is true. A lot of educators stop growing at some point, and this is, of course, a shame, and it's not good for our psyches, right? We really love as humans to continue to grow. It may be one of our base functions for motivation. So, and I think I say that here in a minute. The experiences that employees live in the organization are the most intensely growing experiences of their lives. So as they go through the examples of these DDOs that they studied, these developmentally deliberate growth organizations, they're talking about the employee experiences within them, that these employees are recounting these experiences as the greatest growth experiences of their life, right? This is going down in their life experience as the most important moments for them. in terms of growth. So relentlessly intent on continuously improving people, not just processes or products. So a lot of business books focus on continual improvement. And this is, going back to some of the studies of statistical improvement and whether the studies that came out of Japan in terms of process improvement, right? We're continually improving the process. In a DDO, they're continually improving the people. All right. Then there's this next bullet is there's a relentless pursuit of the truth. So we know that our experience in life is we all see things through our own eyes, and it can be very difficult to see things through another person's eyes. And this is always a very good exercise to try to struggle to do that, to see what other people are seeing and to understand what the truth is of the process. And so a lot of times along those lines, we allow ourselves either by just not going to the work of finding out what's happening or by being sort of bamboozled by our own view of what's happening, right? One way or the other. Either we know it's happening or we don't. We know it's happening and we let it, or we don't and it happens. We don't really know what's going on. And so this pursuit of the truth requires sort of an endless, tireless digging on what's happening, what's gone wrong, where are we now, how do we fix it, and not just brushing over things and saying, oh, it looks like this, so it probably is, right? So a relentless pursuit of the truth. So the authors, Robert Kegan and the others that are co-authors on the book, they're talking about how DDOs, deliberately developmental organizations, can look like cults from the outside. So to outsiders, they look very cultish. But to insiders, they don't feel that way. And when they describe their experiences, they feel very wholesome and not, there's a lot of negative aspects of a cult. But in these organizations, the individuals who are growing are describing very positive experiences, unlike what might be found in a cult. So personal evolution. We talk about in the Geek Group and Multifamily Geeks, we talk about our three uniques of love, grow, freedom, right? Love is the idea that humans are equal, and we say emotionally equal, to be more clear on that. But there really is no equality. People have different experiences and different things, but for us, it's the emotions of the individual that are equal no matter what the age of the individual, right? Grow is the idea that we have not only the right, but maybe the obligation to try to grow to our highest level of what we can achieve at this moment in time. And that's a moving target. That's being human experience. That is not always a set target by any means. And then the idea of freedom. We like this idea of freedom of time. Humans are motivated by this, right? We find it every day in our business and what we want from ourselves. We want freedom of time. We want freedom of money. We want freedom of relationships. We want to be in relationships with the people we choose, not the ones that we're put into a relationship with at work, right? Freedom of purpose. We want to choose our own goals. And so they're backing this off even to a higher level, from what we say of freedom. They're saying personal evolution is the goal of motivation of human existence. It's a fundamental drive and motivation for us as humans to desire to evolve to our next level. And I think part of us, when we say freedom, we need freedom of time to do that. If I'm in charge of my own time, now I have a shot at this, right? Is becoming human evolution. I can spend time on things that I'm required to grow. So the interesting thing I'm going to cover is I'm going to get down here to the ICA, and then I'm going to go back to this, where inside the organization, you don't have to leave your job and set up your own business at a DDO. Oh no, they're going to ask you to spend time on those issues, have freedom of time within the job to focus on your aspects of personal growth. An unbelievable idea. And again, you're not hearing the word profit or where are the sales in the company, or is it a sales-driven organization, right? Nothing on that yet. But every one of these organizations acknowledges the requirement of sales to keep this organization going, right? So, okay, weakness and error are opportunities to grow. And we know that as humans. Even I was talking to Darnell before I started this. Can humans grow without some sort of pain or intense experience? I don't know if we can. I think it is entirely impossible that discomfort, ambiguity, and possibly pain, mental pain and different types of pain are required for human growth, right? So they're looking at weakness and error as an opportunity, right? And think of how different that is from a normal business where we're trying to hide our weakness, right? Hide our errors because we know that we may receive scorn for them. In these organizations, they're trying to look at these as opportunities. Okay, success is not the result of a God-given ability, but from a growth mindset and becoming your true self through growth. So I think this goes back to, are you born with it or do you develop it, right? The old contradiction to what is it that makes a person successful. They're going to side not on the side of, oh, this person was born incredibly talented and therefore they're successful. No, they're going to go at the idea that it doesn't matter who you are. If you focus on your true self and you work at growing, you will be successful. It's inevitable, which is a very liberating concept, right? It's an equality concept that says it doesn't matter where we're from, who we are, what we look like, what our opportunities have been. Every moment is a moment in time to keep moving down this road of growth. And it's this true self pursuit through growth that leads to our success. All right. A very liberating and exciting concept to me for a DDO. So here's the table of contents. It was short, so I typed it right in. Number one, meet the DDOs. I think there's 3 to 5 examples of DDOs that they worked with and studied. What do we mean by development? They're talking about what it is for human growth. A conceptual tour of the DDO. So they're talking about what are the aspects that are in common of these different companies. One's a theater company. Another is, I kind of forget right now, but completely different lines of business is their point. Yet they have commonalities along the lines of the DDO. They talk about this concept of in the groove. The next chapter is, but is this any way to run a business? The pushback from business people saying, why are you, sitting around growing people? You should be going for profit, right? The kind of an old argument. Creating home, an epilogue, and end credits, all right? So let's talk about edge, home, groove. So they cover some of the natural reactions here. Sure, that's how you spell natural reactions, right? The human brain is wired with the amygdala. The amygdala is our dinosaur brain, the way I understand it. And so you have your normal brain, the hippocampus, maybe it is, where you do your rational thinking and you can think clearly and you can understand things. Under pressure, humans move into the amygdala, which is the dinosaur brain, which is the 3 F's. You're either ready to fight, you're ready to flight, which is run away, or freeze, right? Those are kind of the 3 dinosaur brain reactions. And that's how that's how scientists say we've survived all these years, is by going into that dinosaur brain. What they're looking for is the other brain, right? The consciously thinking through and moving through growth opportunities requires our higher orders of human understanding and intellect. So what do these organizations have as part of this process? They've got higher turnover for those who cannot handle the intensity of the experience. They readily admit they turn over more employees in the beginning of time with a group of new employees than other organizations. How good are you and how fast? Oh, they're talking about the contrast and who works at these companies, right? And they're talking about things like what's more important. Is it how good you are or how fast you learn? And they want the second. The DDO is looking for that second aspect. How fast do you learn? Now we're talking about what your potential is at the organization. And then vulnerability is applauded and required. Every employee is required to take criticism from other employees and self-reflect and ask if it's true or not, right? And it's that vulnerability. And of course, the DDO has to create the environment where the vulnerability is accepted, right? That's a lot of the reason most of us won't go there, is because we're rarely in a situation or a group or a company where we can be vulnerable. A lot of companies, the moment you show weakness is the moment they punish you for that, right? So, okay. They use a tool called immunity to change. It's a one-page self-reflective process, and I don't have the totality of it here. I'm just going to give you the brief concept of it. The main point of the document is to identify one big thing that I as a person would need to grow with. And that's going to become the point of my one page. Then I'm embracing my backhand, some of the lingo they use in the DDOs, the backhand being, for most tennis players, the forehand is the strong swing, and the backhand is always a weaker, more difficult swing to make. They're embracing the challenge in the individual and not just going, let's focus all on the forehand, right? So embrace your backhand, excuse me. And then the ICA, the immunity to change document, is the tool used to help individuals to self-reflect and work on their opportunity. And they call it an ICA because, and this is true for us in multifamily investing, we always say that only 5% of this business is education. 95% of it is the gray matter between our brains. It's fear, it's hurt, it's different things, probably fear, probably the biggest one. It's these emotions in our head that stop us from being successful. The ICA is geared to work on that very thing. You're admitting what it is that you need to work on and what it is that's your backhand or your weakness, and then you're starting to map out individual pieces, and I'll leave this up to you to go back and read the book and see what that is, to go ahead and work on this very task. They're also forming pairs and small groups for people to work on these issues and to bring these to the table and to discuss through them. And it's through that deliberate process that they're building this DDO, this incredible place where people are growing and they're making money so they can all pay each other a salary, I imagine is the way you might think of it. So, and then the group has at the, if you want to go to the website, www.mindsatwork.com, MINDSATWORK. They are a coaching company that uses this ICA document to help individuals work through their backhand, so to speak, right? Work on their weaknesses and break through their challenges that are holding them back. So what I do as a summary here, I said my take on the DDO. I think for me, this book was liberating because I knew what a DDO was before I had a name for it. And I know that I've been in organizations where I was able to form DDOs with a small group of people within the larger organization. Kind of like, I could find my kindred souls within the organization, and I could say, okay, the 3 of us, the 2 of us, the 5 of us, we're going to form a group within a group. We're going to try to grow our way out of this. And it wasn't as tense as these. I don't want to pretend that I was able to do what these organizations have done, but I knew what I was looking for, and I knew how motivating it was. And for me, those have been the best experiences. I can go back and recount them like they were yesterday. The times that I was able to find these small groups of people that were values fits with me, that then shared this kind of desire to get better, a desire for more, a craving for increase, a craving for growth, a craving for freedom, right? And I think still to this day, that's what I'm doing, is trying to build teams of these people that believe the same thing as I do. So this is my most important goal in an organization, that individuals together grow, or we call it minds growing together, even in our group to this day. So I know what this DDO is. I like it a lot. This book is a must read. I highly recommend it. And then you can go in and find that ICA. And at some point, maybe you can build one for yourself and run through one and maybe find an organization like this for yourself.